Alright guys, well, sorry for the little bit of delay. We had a storm come through a few days ago, so I haven't had a chance to do any updates. But we are at, let's see, we are exactly at 5 days. So I'll kind of go over a little bit of the schedule, but right now I'm going to shut her down because we're done. 5 full days. 1 second here. Pretty much went as planned. There, all right, shut down. So we'll kind of go over the schedule that I ran, what I think I'll do differently next time. Just a little tweak, I think. But so my first impressions of the exhaust fan is, I think that's definitely the ticket. I mean, the moisture levels never went above, I don't know, I think 55 at the highest. So that just tells me that as it heated up and the time went on, the moisture just kept getting sucked out and sucked out and sucked out. So I'm pretty happy with that. So like I said, the first 24 hours, what we did was, just to kind of recap, I'm sorry, the first little over 6 hours we did, just to get it up to temp, up to 120. I ran the dehu. I didn't plan on doing that, but I did. And then right after that, I was like, well, it's going pretty good so far. I cranked it up to 140 with the vent on. Did that, and then what I did, I don't know why, but I started to, I just let the heat crank wide open, and it got up to, I want to say about 143 while it's venting, and I was kind of like, oh, I must be losing a lot of heat going out, but the moisture was probably around 40-50%, you know, and when I would put my hand by the vent, I mean, it was really, there's a lot of humidity coming out of there, so I knew it was working. So then what I did was, for 3 hours, a little over 3 hours, I shut the vent off and just let it crank. It did get up to over 150, about 152. Humidity levels, obviously weren't really high, so I brought it back down to 140. Let the vent run, and I did that for 32 hours. So, I mean, this right now, we're obviously at like day 3. So, when I look at my chart, you could see that on the graph that the humidity just kept going down and down and down, you know. So I was like, well, that's good. So then after those 32 hours, I cranked it wide open, and we were hovering around 152 with the vent going. I did that for about 12 hours. So for sure, the inside of the wood was over 140, because I had it at 140 plus for almost 3 full days, probably a little more than that. And then the last 25 hours, which gets us to day 5 here, complete day 5, is I let the temperature just come down on its own to about 100 degrees, and as it's coming down, just let the dehu run. And from what I can tell, we sucked out, we still got some moisture out of there, but not as much as we usually get, so, which is good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open her up, just kind of let it cool down. Like I said, we had a huge storm come through, and it only affected probably, I don't know, from my location, because I had a box elder tree get blown over across the driveway, and it was probably within 5-10 miles of this location. So I mean, my phone was just going crazy, emails, texts, whatever. So I've been nonstop, so I really haven't had a chance to keep an eye on this thing, but I've checked in from time to time, and it's doing what it should. So I mean, it is what it is. So pretty happy with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up, just let it cool down. This really only needs to cool down like 30 degrees. So I'm going to get her open here and just let her be. And then later I'll start unloading the wood, and I'm going to test the moisture on them. Now I haven't opened this since I shut it when we started, so hopefully everything looks good. So let's take a look and see what we got here. Everything's still mounted, so nothing fell. That's good. Let's see what we got. Still hot, man. Oh yeah, that's dry. That's dry as can be. Dry. Weighs nothing. So yeah, we'll let the temperature come back down. This is what I'm more concerned about, is to make sure this wood is super dry and she feels real nice. It's oak there. So yeah, we'll have to, like I said, when I pull all this out, I'll split a couple of those, a lot of it's sugar maple, there's some oak in there, and see what we got for moisture on them. But I could definitely tell the exhaust vent's been working, because there wasn't really any moisture seeping out at the door, so I know most of it was getting sucked out. The only time that happened is when I turned the exhaust fan off and just let it crank for those 3 hours, and I'm just spinning my wheels. It's kind of, I don't know why I even did that. So I think moving forward, what I'm gonna do is when I close her up, all I'm gonna do is let the exhaust fan run, heat it to 140, and I'll leave that, I'll do that for 3.5 days, I think. And then the next 12 hours, leave the fan run and just crank the heat as high as I can get it, just to get it to make sure that it's sterilized. I know a lot of you are probably gonna be like, why don't you just do that for the whole 4 days, right? Well, if it's at 140, the boiler's not running non-stop. Just trying, you know, it keeps up, it'll do its cycle and whatever. But that 5 to 8 degrees, that it's only gonna get hotter. Yeah, I know there'll probably be more moisture escaping, but at the same time, I'm trying to keep this as efficient as possible, right? So I don't want the boiler just to be running nonstop and I'm using a lot of wood, because that's really defeating the purpose, and I do not want to do that. So if I can keep it at 140 and I get good results off of that, I mean, I may change my thought when I start testing this stuff, and if it's still not where I really want it, then yeah, maybe I'll just leave it wide open and maybe I'll get better results. But the moisture readings the last 2 days have been by far the lowest I've ever seen on any of my previous tests. So I'm thinking the wood's got to be definitely drier than what it was. I mean, yeah, it was 3 days shorter than the previous one, but now we're venting stuff. The dehue's not working. We're venting out the moisture. So I do feel like it's going to be a lot better. So after we get back from doing some more storm damage today, I'll come out here, I'll unload all this stuff, I'll moisture test some things, I'll probably do it live. I won't even split it, then show you. I'll just record me splitting a couple in half and show you what the moisture readings are. So I'm gonna hope that it's really, really good. So it should be. I still got some fine tuning to do. I still got to get the probe sensors for the wood, so in live time I can see what the moisture is inside the wood, what the temp is. That'll be the true test. That'll tell me what's really going on besides what the air is telling me. So I mean, that's the end all be all, right? So then I'll know. I'm like, okay, we've got to go another day because the moisture is still too high. So I get it, but this is kind of the same concept, just a little different. So but so far so good. I mean, it's going to be a hot one these next couple of days again. Not sure when I'm going to put another batch in. Probably, it might be a week or so, but I got some other stuff I can show you guys. So yeah, no, stay tuned. So within a couple seconds here, you'll see I'll pull some stuff out, and then we'll do some splitting, because I got to load up that hardwood in the back there for delivery for tomorrow. So it better be good to go. But yeah, stay tuned, and we'll see what the results look like. All right, guys. Well, I got everything out of the kiln there. It's been a long day. It's been super hot, so everything's out except for some scraps I got to clean up. But I got the pine over there, and then I got the load in here for tomorrow morning. So as you can see, that's some maple, some hickory. It's pretty much hard maple in here. There might be a couple sticks of ash, but yeah, there's a piece of oak over there. But so I did split a couple of these. They're around 10 to 12%. I mean, not as dry as I was hoping it would be. I mean, you could see every piece has cracks on it. I mean, it's a good telltale sign. But I did split some of the pine. I mean, that stuff was like less than 5 on even the big pieces. So obviously I know hardwood would probably take a little longer. So I think whenever I have hardwood in there, I may go an extra day. I'd like to keep it at 5 days. I don't know, but I think I'm gonna have to go to 6 days for hardwood, maybe 7, just depending on how wet the stuff is, to get it like, as dry as I can. So still debating if I should heat it to 140 for a couple days and then let it crank. I'd like to get a lot of that moisture out before I just send it. I don't know. Or maybe I just let her crank for the 5 days and the last day dehumidify. I mean, I don't even know if dehumidifying is worth it at this point. I mean, maybe, because I don't care what wood you grab, the outside of the wood is bone dry. And I'd say it's bone dry all the way in, at least an inch, give or take. I mean, it doesn't even read, and it's like bone dry. So I would assume that's the dehumidification portion of it. I could be wrong, I don't know. So I think for hardwood, I'm gonna go an extra day. As much as I don't want to do that, we'll go 6 days. And I may even change that depending on if I have 5 totes of hardwood in there, because that's a lot more moisture. It's a lot harder to get out. I don't know. So I'm curious to see what you guys think. If you think I should just let it vent and let the heat just crank for 5-6 days, no matter what. Don't even set it at a temp and just let it keep heating and venting. I'm sure how humid it is out here doesn't help the situation either. I don't know. So no, I'm curious to see what you guys think. I mean, I think I have an idea. I mean, I'll really know once I get the probes in the wood, because I mean, if it's still reading high, you just keep it going, right? So, but I think I'm on the right track. I mean, we're getting there. I mean, everything, this pine over here is, I know you can't ever tell on a video, but this stuff is, it's a fraction of what it used to weigh. I mean, you can hear how dry this is. I mean, none of this weighs a thing. I mean, so this pine, I mean, I don't think you could get it any drier. I mean, it's so dry. I mean, look at this. I mean, that's how you know. Obviously, it's a little sliver, I get it, but everything here is like that. Doesn't matter if it's on the bottom, the top. So, yeah, I feel like we're getting there. I just wish this was a tad bit drier. I mean, it's dry. Obviously, we know it's going to burn very well. It's very dry. So, I just, I don't know. So, curious to see what your guys' feedback is on that. But I'm pretty happy with putting that vent in. Obviously, it worked. It worked as it should. I mean, we were venting the moisture. The levels never got crazy high like it has in the past with just running the dehu when nothing's happening. So, I mean, maybe, like I said, I got to go an extra day, which I think that's probably what I'll end up doing. I feel like one more day, I probably could have brought it down a couple more %. So, I mean, every test is going to be a learning curve. No test is going to be the same. I mean, every species are going to be different. Moisture content's going to be different. Conditions outside are going to be different. So yeah, like I said, I really won't know until I get those probes in the wood. Then I'll actually know what's going on within the wood versus what's going on around the air. But I did, venting it though, was the lowest I've had moisture in there. I think we got it down to like 23% in the air, which is obviously is really dry in the air. And the outside of the wood was 0, so I know it's working. I know baking it to that temp works, so I'm thinking if I maybe want one more day, I could probably be up in the upper 160s in temp, which would be good for the moisture in the inside. I don't know. So it just, if I let the heat just crank and crank, yeah, the boiler's going to be going through a little bit more wood. But like I said, right now I don't really care because I'm just burning scraps. It's all like waste wood, when most people would just burn in a fire pit outside. I just throw it all in there. So, but yeah, I wouldn't care in the winter time because I can just pack it full and heat all the rest of the stuff, and I really wouldn't notice a difference. But no, we're on the right track, I think. So yeah, hope you guys like that. All in all, the vent works without a doubt. So all you guys that mentioned that, it was a good addition. I mean, there's a little bit of tweaks I think I need to do, but it works. So I'm happy with that. So yeah, stay tuned. I think I'm not sure when I'll do another kiln run here. I'm gonna have a bunch of. I mean, maybe I'll film some of this storm damage we're doing because it's everything you can think of. So and it's hot, so they're long days. But if I missed anything, I apologize. I mean, it's been a long last 3 days, sun up to sundown, doing all this storm damage. So I think that's everything though. But yeah, so let me know your feedback, and I'll try to address those and maybe be some good suggestions and some good improvements. So, but yeah, as always, keep burning.